All right. Lieutenant Governor, do you have audio with us?
Yep, we can hear you loud and clear.
Are you ready to proceed?
Looks like it.
All right, we'll call to order the Department of Transportation Board of Directors meeting scheduled for today, May 12, 2025 at 9:30 a.m. And we'll kick it off with the roll call.
Governor Joe Lombardo,
Here.
Lieutenant Governor Stavros Anthony,
Here.
Controller Andy Matthews,
Here.
Member Virginia Valentine,
Here.
Member Frank Lepre,
Here.
Member Justin Kalb,
Here.
Member Gary Perea.
Here.
Governor, you have a quorum.
All right, thank you. We'll move on to the first opportunity for public comment. Public comment may be provided in person or by calling 775-888-7440. The call will be placed in a queue and the caller will be notified of the turn for comment. First public comment is limited to agenda items on the agenda. No action may be taken upon a matter raised under public comment period unless the matter itself has been specifically included on an agenda action item. Chair of the board will impose a time of 3 minutes. Do we have any public comment there in Carson City?
Not for the first public comment period.
Any here in Las Vegas? Mr. Wellman, you want to talk?
No, thank you. Not today.
Okay. Do we have anybody on the phone or online?
Not at this time.
All right, we'll move on to agenda item number 3 and receive the director's report.
Good morning, everyone. So I'm going to start off. We have a retiree. Hopefully this is William Buck Hurlbut. He retired on April 11th of this year, and he served 25 years on the Sparks construction crew. So Buck, are you there in Carson? Nice pictures, by the way. Sandra,
Yeah,
is Buck?
Buck's here. He's in Carson City. He's walking up here right now.
Okay, great. And if we can get a picture of you guys up there. Well, thank you, Buck.
Yeah.
Appreciate all the years and the sense of humor you brought to the job. So we're going to move on. This is Mental Health Awareness Month. NDOT employees are often first responders to traumatic events such as serious traffic accidents, the discovery of a deceased body, or serious employee injury or death. These incidents can affect employees in many areas of NDOT across the state. Additionally, the construction industry has one of the highest suicide rates among the profession. According to the Centers for Disease Control and Prevention, the rate among male construction workers is 75% higher than men in the general population. NDOT has not been immune from these actions. NDOT leadership encourages team members to use the State Employee Assistance Program. NDOT also partners with Trauma Intervention Program of Northern Nevada for support. And some new initiatives that NDOT is working on for mental health for our team members includes partnering with the Nevada State Police, providing critical incident stress management training, partnering with Pause for Love Reno to provide therapy dogs after critical incidents. And we also now have new mental health awareness training and a new training course on mental resilience. Just kind of bringing awareness that there are many facets of the job and that we really need to kind of look for the well-being of not just physically, but the mental well-being of our crew. So our next one, on a lighter note, going into Go Orange Day. Last month, we discussed our work zone safety initiatives for National Work Zone Safety Awareness Week, held April 21st to 25th. And public education awareness are another very important aspect of safety. So during Work Zone Safety Awareness Week, we post approximately 20 media posts and videos, which were seen more than 20,000 times. So on Wednesday, the 23rd, we encourage employees who do not wear prescribed uniform to say and go Orange Day, where we wear orange or other work zone colors, such as the fluorescent yellow green. I really like these because both those colors go well with my hair. So it is just kind of an awareness of really being safe. And then another fun day on April 24th is Take Your Child to Work Day at NDOT. I know that happens in many places across the agencies. But we're welcoming children and staff members for a day of hands-on learning and behind-the-scenes insight into the work our agency does to keep Nevada safe and connected. We've featured interactive demonstrations, equipment displays, material lab tours, safety presentations, all designed to educate and inspire the next generations. And they even had an opportunity to jump on pieces of NDOT equipment like snowplows. We do turn off the horns when they get to the equipment because I get old really fast. They had the opportunity to engage with engineers, planners, maintenance crews, and other professionals to learn how road, bridges, and traffic systems are developed and maintained. It's not only informative, but it's also our secret pipeline for future NDOT employees. But it is a fun day to see the kids around the area. Then we had a big kickoff. We launched the construction of phase 2 of downtown Ely highway renovations in February. We performed roadside utility work over the recent months. And as we begin to launch roadway reconstruction, we wanted to meet with businesses and community members to share project updates. So we had approximately 75 attendees. And I want to thank Board Member Priya for attending and speaking at the event. He also shared the evening with us with opening remarks. And I know one of the first things he did upon joining the board was to tour the project area. And I want to thank him for his direction and support of the project. The city was also very much appreciative. There was many positive remarks about the road and highway builders moving efficiently and organized. Something, frankly, I always like to hear. And then the project includes pavement rehabilitation, sidewalk replacement, drainage improvements, storm drains, city, water and sewer, and traffic signals and lighting. And I want to emphasize that this was a partnership with the city of Ely because they needed to go in and do the sewer and water upgrades before we could go in. So they invested about $5 or $6 million to upgrade the subsurface and to make this project possible. On May 4th to 10th, Nevada State Employees Appreciation Week. Governor, you proclaimed it the State Employees Appreciation Week, and thank you for recognizing the entire team of NDOT. And I will admit I'm biased, but I know that our NDOT team is the best and favorite of all your departments. So from highway planning, construction, operations, and maintenance to material testing, environmental and information science, payroll, administrative duties, they are all dedicated to the department. I'm extremely proud of all of our employees. Very much so. I also want to thank you, Governor, for recognizing Alicia Denny, our Assistant Director for Administration, and Brian Robinson, who's here in the office, for recognizing them as part of your Employees Appreciation Ceremony. So thank you.
Good job, Brian.
You're enjoying some of the fruits of his labor right here. The Nevada CPM. Thank you, Governor, for leading last month's graduation of the State Certified Public Managers course. The recent CPM graduate includes 3 NDOT team members. Up there, Nanette Maxwell, James Murphy, and Guadalupe Lopez. This was class number 20. And I look back, I was in class number 2. That's kind of telling you how long I've been here. But I do know that the 18 months that I spent really cemented a lot of relationships with other organizations that really helped my career along the way and fostered friendships that lasted decades. So congratulations to all the graduates. I was in class number 2, kind of telling you how long I've been here, but I do know that the 18 months that I spent really cemented a lot of relationships.
It's repeating what you were saying.
Oh, I was going to say, who's talking? There seemed to be a little bit of a feedback loop.
There it was some new number that popped up. It's off now.
And this next one is on tariff. This was at the request of member Gary Correa last month. This has been a little hard for me to really determine the full impact. So But I reviewed material online and the AGC sent over material. So I read that material. I did some Googling online and talked to a few contractors. The Buy America provisions in most of our contracts address a good portion of the tax. It's obviously no tariffs on USA goods. The concern will be with goods not made in the US and that have
Hey,
waivers.
Tracy. And there you go, it's off again. There's a number that keeps popping up when it's kind of lagging behind what you're saying. Go ahead.
There's some difficulties in supply chains for electronics and the TSMO, the Transportation System Management Operator related items, ramp meters, variable message signs, those type. It'll be an ongoing conversation, but per some of the AGC material, there's a 10% baseline tariff on most imports. Lumber, there's a possible 25%, depending on whether we're using Canadian lumber or not. Equipment and trucks, about 25%. Steel and aluminum, about 25%. And again, mainly the concern is on electrical parts. This will be an ongoing, we'll monitor it ongoing. I don't have really definitive impacts yet, so it'll be a little bit more wait and see. We are more concerned, like I said, with the electronics than anything else. And then this next one, this is our quarterly report for the revolving account update. And Felicia Denny, our Assistant Director of Administration, will cover this slide. Felicia?
Good morning. As Tracy mentioned, I'm Felicia Denny, Assistant Director of Administration for NDOT. And I'm just going to give a little brief report on the revolving account. This account exists per Nevada Revised Statute 408. And it's a special bank account that allows the department to make prompt payments, payments also for travel advances and reimbursement and crew subsistence payments, such as meals and lodging. All the transactions that we have comply with the state laws and regulations of budgets and policies. What this account is purely a mechanism to allow us to make payments separate from the other ways we make payments using the ongoing financial system. And all transactions do flow through that system in our tract. The Transportation Board approved a temporary increase in our balance, which was prior to that increase $125,000 to go up to $500,000 to allow us to make timely payments during the financial system implementation where there was a shutdown and we wanted to be prepared in case there were any emergencies. As you can see from the slide, the payments that we made in January, February, and March were between $48,000 a month to $63,000. And so we had plenty of money in the account. The financial system allowed us to make payments. And so everything went well. That increase was not needed for this quarter. However, the board decided to continue to have us monitor the account and report quarterly for 3 months past our implementation of the financial system for NDOT to move over to ensure that we have that extra little bit of leverage in case there is an emergency or any issues with cutting over to the new system. And so in the words of Forrest Gump, that's all I have to say about that. I don't know if anyone has any questions or not, but I'd be happy to answer any questions.
Hey, Felicia, this is Governor Lombardo. Does this account include the air unit,
I'm sorry, the what unit?
the air unit, the airplane?
No, well, yes, it would include only the crew's travel payments. It does not include any other payments for the aircraft. Does
Okay.
that make sense? Okay.
And this is
I'm sorry, just to add, it does not include things like fuel, paying for fuel for the aircraft. It'd only be crew per diem.
This is just when we have emergencies or we need to quickly dispatch crews and then they're going to be here for longer that we can pay them per diem quickly. It really is just a quicker measure of paying them out. It follows all the rules and all the approvals of regular per diem and so on. All right, thank you, Felicia. And the next, on the consent agenda today, we are requesting approval of the freeway and arterial system of transportation. also known as FAST. That's the building that we are in here. While this agreement is with the RTC of Southern Nevada, this is a regional partnership with all the cities and counties in Southern Nevada. City of Las Vegas, City of Henderson, Clark County, City of North Las Vegas, City of Mesquite, and Boulder City. I'm proud to say this serves as a model for the rest of the country and allows for enhanced operations across all jurisdictional boundaries. And I am serious, we often reference this in conferences across the country because it's very unique to have that many agencies under one roof being unified on the operations. Last month, we presented on the Freeway Service Patrol. Our partnership in FAST allowed NDOT with RTC to use predictive analysis patterns to integrate with our Freeway Patrol operations to reduce response times to incidents by 12 minutes, which is huge. For those aware of the golden hour, 12 minutes is really a big deal. We continue to work closely with our partners to enhance safety in the region through this. Dave Pullen, our Assistant Director of Operations, will share more about this. And I also wanted to point out that Teresa Gazart, the Director of FAST, is also here in the audience if we have any other questions. Teresa, can you just wave? Right. They're going to be looking recording later too. Jay, take it away, please.
Thank you, Director. Good morning, Governor, board members. For the record, my name is Jay Pullen, NDOT Assistant Director of Operations. As mentioned, in the Las Vegas location, Teresa Gazer, the Senior Director of FAST, is present. I will briefly be covering the Freeway and Arterial System of Transportation Agreement, highlighting the Las Vegas Traffic Management, RTC of Southern Nevada Partnership, and the agreement scope of services. NDOT's mission is to provide, operate, and preserve a transportation system that enhances safety, quality of life, and economic development. Clark County has approximately 3 million residents and receives approximately 40 million visitors per year. For Clark County, the yearly driver delay cost due to all congestion is estimated at around $325 million, with a total vehicle delay of 8 to 9 million hours. With multiple agency jurisdiction within the Las Vegas metropolitan area, regional transportation coordination can be a challenge. The solution is Transportation System Management and Operations, TSMO strategies. TSMO strategies optimize and enhance safety and highway infrastructure. For traffic incident management, these strategies include the TIM Coalition, Freeway Service Patrol, and Hazmat response. For a robust and freeway management system, Intelligent Transportation System, ITS technology helps optimize the network. ITS technology examples include Advanced Traffic Management System, known as ATMS, used for speed harmonization, traffic lane management, and incident management, freeway cameras, flow detectors, ramp meters, and the most recent addition, the wrong way driver detection system. The keystone to these programs and technologies is the cross-agency partnership. Next slide. In 1981, the local agencies and NDOT partnered to establish the Las Vegas Area Computer Traffic System, LVAX, which was a major step in the right direction. By 2001, LVX combined with the new freeway management system to form FAST, which stands for Freeway and Arterial System of Transportation. And in 2004, RTC of Southern Nevada officially began full administration of the FAST Traffic Management Center. The FAST Traffic Management Center, TMC, consists of NDOT's Roadway Operations Center, known as Vegas Roads, RTC's FAST Division, and the Highway Patrol Dispatch Division of DPS. Additionally, while not stationed in the TMC facility, these partners also include the City of Las Vegas, the City of North Las Vegas, the City of Henderson, Clark County, Nevada Department of Public Safety, and the Freeway Service Patrol. Last slide. The FAST TMC is comprised of two functions. First, maintaining and operating the Freeway Management System, FMS for short. This FMS system is owned and funded by NDOT. The second is maintaining and operating the Arterial Management System, AMS. This system is owned and funded by the local agencies. The FAST maintenance boundaries can be viewed in the board packet, section 5 on page 40. To highlight some of the FAST TMC responsibilities, I wanted to mention that they monitor and operate and maintain the ITS infrastructure, manage traffic through the ATMS, respond to traffic incidents and other emergencies, coordinate with DPS dispatch and Vegas roads, and perform holiday and special event management. Tracy mentioned earlier that the fast TMC reduces clearance times by as much as 12 minutes. I would like to end the presentation with one more fact. In 2024, Clark County experienced 13,318 crashes, which included 811 secondary crashes. According to the national average, secondary crashes account for approximately 22% of all crashes. For Clark County in 2024, secondary crashes accounted for only 6.1%. This is 3.6 times lower than the national average. We achieved this by providing quick and safe incident clearance. This shows the great accomplishment achieved by this cross-agency partnership. And that concludes my presentation.
And that concludes the director's report. Any questions?
All right, do any board members have any questions of any item in the director's?
I have a question on that fast. Jay, does the other agencies, they pay their share, you said? So the 9.2 is paid from NDOT?
For the record, Jay Pullen, Frank, Member Lepre, what you had mentioned, so in the board packet, it shows NDOT's contribution to the FAST, but you're correct. So for the AMS portion, there is a specific amount that the local agencies pay in, basically their fair share of their monitoring of their roadway systems and network.
Okay. And then it went up 21% from last year's budget to this year's budget?
Correct.
And what was the cause of that?
For the record, Jay Pullen, to answer your question, Member Lepre, there was a couple of factors. One of the reasons had to do with the wages specific to RTC. And so we needed to match those wages for the 20 personnel that's part of the FAST. The other thing had to do with just improving performance. Given the special events and all the holidays that they provide support to, we actually expanded the hours of operation so we could be more efficient during those timeframes. Another thing too is that it will expand as we increase ITS infrastructure. So as we add additional devices out in the field, they're responsible for the maintenance, preventative maintenance, and operations of those systems.
Thank you.
Any further questions?
Governor, this is Gary Perea.
Go ahead, Gary.
I just want to quickly thank the.
Gary, we're having trouble hearing you.
Can you hear me okay now?
No.
I'm not sure what the
There you
problem is.
go.
Okay.
Clear it out.
I just want to thank the NDOT team members that were able to be at the meet and greet in Ely on April 30th. It was a very successful night, and I have heard good comments about the communication and the information that was provided.
Thank you. All right, if there are no further questions, we will close agenda item number 3 as its informational item only. And move to number 4, consideration of approval of the April 14, 2025 Nevada Department of Transportation Board of Directors meeting minutes for possible action. Do we have any questions or concerns with the meeting minutes?
I'll move for approval.
All right, hearing none, we have a motion for approval. Do I have a second?
Andy Matthews.
Second.
And for the record, the motion was initiated by Virginia Valentine. And we have a motion for approval. Those in favor signify by saying aye.
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 Any against, nay? Hearing none, motion passed. All right, we'll move on to section 2, the consent agenda. Here's we have only one item, that being item number 5. An agreement P 172-25.016 for Regional Transportation Commission of Southern Nevada for the operation and maintenance of the FAST DMC, Clark County, Nevada. Possible action. Ms. Lark. Are you gonna provide any clarification? Do you have any questions from any board members?
That's why we included some explanation in the
Okay,
director's report.
we don't have any questions. I'll entertain a motion for approval.
This is Andy Matthews. I'll move to approve.
Virginia Valentine on second.
All right, we have a motion for approval. All those in favor signify by saying aye.
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 Motion passes. Aye for the record. All right, we will move on to section, we'll move on to section, we'll skip section 3. We'll move on to section 4, additional business items. We'll kick it off with item number 6, receive information and updates on the One Nevada Transportation Plan. Informational only item.
And the Assistant Director for Planning, Rebecca Catherine, will come.
Good morning, Governor and board members. I wanted to provide a brief overview of the process for the One Nevada plan. Hopefully this might seem familiar to you as we have brought this before the board in the past. The department's approach to its long-range plan involves several steps due to the scale of Nevada's transportation network. The One Nevada process helps the department in the evaluation and advancement of projects while balancing the limited resources available. We review needs that are validated and move them into concepts. The depth of the department's list of concepts requires consideration of the current commitments and resources that are limited. Once concepts are created, they are then considered for inclusion into the statewide transportation improvement program. You may know that as the STIP. This is through the prioritization process. The projects and concepts are ranked and prioritized, and when the department has the prioritized list, the list then gets harmonized into account for different criteria such as project readiness, funding availability and eligibility, and statewide or federal initiatives. Current goals and areas of criteria are the slide that I want to talk about. This shows what we are currently have in the One Nevada plan, and it's been a constant within the One Nevada plan. While the goals have not changed, there has been slight adjustments to the weights and the goal areas. The display weights were used to prioritize the 2025-2028 STIP and work program, and are typically reviewed each year, allowing leadership to help shape the direction for the department's projects. The current criteria also has changed over the years. This has been a direct result in refining the process and data used to help measure the goal areas. This year, the department has adjusted the goal area weights to better align with the state strategic plan and to better align with some of the federal direction that's been communicated. The bigger change happened with the criteria this year. This was done to better align the One Nevada process with both state and federal guidance. It was also done to help streamline the prioritization process. Changes to the goal areas, weighting, and criteria include the following: an increase in the enhanced safety goal weight and an increase to transform economies goal weight. We changed the criteria name for the safety criteria from crash reduction potential to safety improvement potential. This was done to help message the purpose of the goal and criteria. We did decrease the goal weight areas for optimized mobility, foster sustainability, and connect communities, as well as simplified criteria for those goal areas. By reviewing the goal weights and criteria used, the department can better align itself to meet changes in the federal and state priorities. It also allows for the department to adjust its program to better align with the performance of the network. This allows for the department to concentrate efforts towards the goal areas that may need attention. Having a systemic approach to evaluate planned projects allows for the department to be more prepared based on infrastructure needs. To reiterate, The use of the One Nevada Prioritization Project is the start or foundational beginning of the program of projects. Once a prioritized list is produced, the department reviews the list to adjust it based on project readiness, funding, availability, and state priorities. While a systematic approach, with a systematic approach, it provides the department a proactive ability to continue to advance projects that are outside the constrained plan. Limited resources require the department to evaluate projects further out. Long-range planning under a systematic approach provides a department-wide better insight to meet our infrastructure goals. For example, while some years require more investment in capacity, we plan appropriately to ensure we can maintain our preservation goals. Our next steps include stakeholder engagement on the goal areas. We want to ensure the goal areas are understood. The department wants to also evaluate how goal areas weights along with the criteria can better align with performance measures to help advance projects based on their measures. The department would also like to start moving towards a 10-year plus plan that is public facing to help demonstrate to our stakeholders infrastructure networks needs that the department would like to advance. I want to thank you for allowing me to share this informational report with you, and I'm available to answer questions along with my colleague Kevin Very, who is the Chief of Multimodal and Program Development.
All right, thank you. Do you have any questions? Okay, hearing none, we will close agenda item number 6 and move on to 7, signature authority delegation for contracts and agreements for possible action. Ms. Lark.
Okay, this request for review of the signature authority was requested by member Frank Corey. Recognize that he was not on the board at the time the original one was changed. But Maya is Chief of Administrative Service, is going to take this one on. Maya?
All right. Good morning, members of the board. As Tracy said, my name is Maya Bourgeois, Division Chief of Administrative Services. You might have remembered me from last month. I'm here to provide additional information. Not yet. Cheating. All right. I'm here to provide additional information from last month's board meeting on the delegated signature authority limits for contracts and agreements. I realized from the last presentation I should have taken a few minutes at the beginning to explain the difference between NDOT's contracts and agreements, and also knowing that we've had new member on the board since the delegation of authority was implemented. This would be the perfect opportunity to go ahead and provide a brief overview. Agreements are procured to retain different types of services to include janitorial, software, and on-call engineering services. The procurement method is based off of a dollar amount. So for example, single quotes can go up to $1,999.99. 3 quotes are between $2,000 and $24,999.99. And then anything $25,000 or more per fiscal year needs to be procured as a RFP. The length of services, on average, the agreement is 4 years. However, agreements attached to projects or to software can be procured for longer. Contracts, on the other hand, are for construction projects like mill and fill, slurry seal, roof replacement, and widening lanes. The engineer's estimate is more than $250,000. Contractors must be pre-qualified and have a contractor's license. And bid bonds are required at the time of bid submittal. And the bid itself is bid item based, resulting in low bid procurement process. Now, there's a lot on this one. All right, let's jump into some history and how and why the delegation of authority was increased. In 2023, NDOT had 2 different signature authority reports / surveys conducted. One survey was performed by internal staff. The other one was performed by Jacobs Engineering Group. In total, 9 neighboring states, including Arizona, Colorado, California, Idaho, New Mexico, Utah, Oregon, Alaska, and Washington, were surveyed between the two entities. Both reports and surveys can be located in the board packet. This slide is a summary of some of the data provided in Jacobs Engineering report. Through their research and review, Jacobs Engineering recommended that it was in the best interest of NDOT to obtain higher signature authority. They also reported that most state DOT CEO/directors have unlimited signature authority as long as it's within the appropriation limits and/or complies with state statutes, administrative rules, or procurement policies. In their comparison, NDOT's signature authority is more restrictive than nearby states and can be seen as inhibiting them from working on important projects and contracts quicker than their peers. The report also stated that the majority of the states surveyed have governance structure that allows the DOT CEO the ability to manage delivery of projects and programs within budgetary and statutory limitations without seeking approval from a board or commission. In most cases, board and commissions serve in an advisory role to varying degrees. For example, some of the boards/commissions are required to take an active role in developing statewide plans and making project prioritization recommendations. Even when board/commissions have this type of responsibility, the ability to enter into an agreement or contract is left to the CEO or their delegate. From a project and program delivery standpoint, Jacobs Engineering reported that NDOT would benefit from having higher signatory limits while continuing to maintain current reporting and communication with the NDOT board. All right, let's fast forward to November 11th, 2023 board meeting. NDOT submitted an action item to increase the delegated authority and to allow for bi-monthly meetings. After a brief discussion, the board approved the increased delegation authority, but the bi-monthly meetings did not move forward. This is a snapshot of the new signature authority limits as they stand today. Okay, to bring this full circle, the following slides were presented last month, giving the board an update on additional contracts and agreements executed between the prior signature authority limits and the current signature authority limits from December 31st, 2023 to March 31st, 2025. I'll use them as talking points to provide further information. Okay. Taking into account the report and survey conducted, the increase in costs, as well as the increase in costs since the prior limits were approved in 2011 on agreements that represent basic services required by the department, like the ones listed here in this slide, and that historically NDOT hasn't received any express questions or concerns from board members on these basic service agreements, the limit of $10 million was requested. I realize this slide might be a little difficult to read, so I will provide a recap of some of the services that have been, that fall within these certain thresholds. So between $300,000 and $1 million, the agreements included on-call planning and support services, bridge and tunnel inspections, drill shaft testing, potable water install, and tree trimming. From over $1 million to $5 million, biological consulting services, outreach and education, traffic safety support, architectural and engineering services, transit on-call consultant, NEPA study, construction support services, traffic control for bridge inspections, and electronic records management system. Then between, over $5 million to $10 million, the couple agreements were on that fell within this category were on-call planning and support services and crew augmentation. Even though the delegation of authority is provided to the director, NDOT will continue to bring controversial, political, and/or unique contracts and agreements to the board for approval, as they did today with the FAST agreement. And all of the agreements signed by the director are listed in the board packet every month. Whoa, back up. All right. The 5 projects listed above are smaller and considered routine preservation and safety projects. To provide some perspective, in 2012, an interchange in Las Vegas cost between $35 and $40 million. Now, a similar interchange is estimated at $78 to $80 million. Inflation played a significant role in the original signature adjustment request, as well as project delivery. Once the construction bids are received and reviewed, If the director approves them, these projects can move forward without a 4 to 6 week delay that could take place to get a project listed on the next board meeting's agenda for approval. It also might seem like deja vu when seeing some of these contracts. That's because every fall, NDOT brings their annual work program before the board 2 different times, once as an informational and the second for approval, and it includes all the contracts that are anticipated for the next fiscal year. Last month's presentation also showed the many internal approval layers and processes that contracts and agreements are vetted through before they're executed. And again, all contracts and agreements the director signs can be found in the board packet every month. As I've mentioned before, NDOT will continue to bring controversial, political, and or unique contracts such as the alternative delivery methods and agreements to the board for approval. Oh no, did I mess it up, DJ? No. Woo! Okay. And with that, you've made it through another one of my presentations. I want to thank you for your time, and we are here to answer any questions you may have.
And on conclusion, it is obviously at the board's pleasure where you would like our signature authority to be, but we are recommending that it remains as it currently stands.
I understand. Mr. Bourgeois, this is Governor Lombardo. You mentioned Jacobs Engineering presentation. What was the reference?
For the record, Maya Bourgeois. We had Jacobs Engineering do a survey in getting to it in October of 23, looking at the signature authority review for NDOT.
We basically wanted to compare our internal survey with making sure that we didn't miss anything when we were surveying the other states.
Okay. All right, Member Lepre, did you want to ask some questions?
Please. Myra, on your agreement, you have 1 million to 5 million. How many agreements are under 2 million of the 17 that you listed? Do you have that in front of you?
I do. For the record, Maya Bourgeois, if you can give me 1 second. Under 2 million would have been an additional 16 agreements.
And then on the construction, you also have a spread of 20, if it's 20%, if it's higher than 20% engineer estimate. Yeah.
For the record, Maya Bourgeois, that is correct. So if it's, if the engineer's estimate is over 5 million and the bids come back at 20% over the engineer's estimate, we will bring it back to the board for approval. And I did want to correct one thing. It was 16 agreements over like 2 million. So if there was a 2 million cutoff, anything over 2 million would have been additional 16 agreements that would come to the board for approval.
Thank you. And you also mentioned that it could be a delay, but it could not be a delay either, depending on what time you get it to the package, correct?
That is correct.
Thank you.
Governor Stavros Anthony.
Go ahead, sir.
So I'm not sure what board member Lepre is going to recommend as a change, but the one thing I wanted to put out there is I did hear from a few people from the private sector that believe the signature authority was too high. They wanted to see a little bit more transparency on more of these contracts and agreements. I know they're listed in the back of the agenda, but I mean, there's really nothing to mention what they are. They wanted to see more of an increase of these contracts and agreements as an actual agenda item that we could discuss publicly, that they could weigh in publicly. So, like I said, I'm not sure what exactly the change, but I have no problems with lowering the threshold, maybe putting them on the consent agenda. At least they're on the agenda to vote for. So I have no issues with lowering the amount. So I'll see what board member Lepre is thinking about doing.
If possible, I'd like to lower the agreement to 2 million and the contracts to 20 million and lower the 10% engineer's estimate. Thank you.
Can you say that again, just so I understand it?
Yeah, I'd like to lower the agreement part of this to $2 million. And right now that's at $10 million. And the contracts, I'd like to lower that to $20 million. That's at $40 million. And lower that engineer estimate if it's higher than 10%. Right now it's lowered at, it's at 20%. Thank you.
We rescinded that.
Okay.
We voted it.
Okay.
Governor, this is Deputy Director Sandra Rosenberg. I just want to go back to your earlier question, Mr. Lepre, about the delay. There will absolutely be a delay. The amount of delay varies depending on when we get all the contractor agreement paperwork in place, but there is a time lag between just placing it on the agenda, getting that packet together and putting it out. So it could be, it's probably, I would say, at least 3 weeks, possibly longer, depending on the timing.
Thank you.
So Ms. Bourgeois, for the record, Governor Lombardo again, what was our previous threshold prior to our recent change?
For the record, Maya Bourgeois. Agreements were 300,000 and contracts were 5 million.
That was prior to our last change? Clarification. What was the date? That was in 23, correct?
Yes, it was the end of 23.
So you said 300,000 and 5 million?
For the record, Maya Bourgeois, correct.
Okay. Is there any other questions for board members of the NDOT staff? But obviously we have a difference of opinion and maybe some more information we need to gather before we make this an action item. So if you're okay with it, Member Lepre, I would like to do a little additional research on your request and then bring it back for a vote on the next NDOT meeting.
No problem. And thank you.
I have a question. While we're doing that research, is there an ability to find out how many contracts would have truly been delayed and the length?
And the delay is just the timing for the.
Correct. It's timing to go to the board for approval.
Yeah, we can.
For the record, Maya Bourgeois, yeah, I've noted that and we will provide that information for you.
Right. If there are no further questions, I will not make this as an action item. We will move on to item of great contract agreements and settlement. Informational only item.
Anyone has any questions?
Any board members have any questions on the settlements and agreements? If none, we will close agenda item number 8. Move on to the second opportunity for public comment. Period devoted to comments by the general public about matters relevant to the board's jurisdiction will be held. No vote may be taken on a matter not listed on the posted agenda. Comments will be limited to 3 minutes. Please clearly state your name and spell your last name for the record. Do you have any public comment there in Carson City?
Yes, sir, we do. We have 4 people signed up at the moment.
Good morning, Elizabeth Learnhardt. Good morning, Governor and trustees. I'm here to address SB 426, a bill initially designed to enhance parking safety in Nevada's side of the Tahoe Basin by asking NDOT with better parking solutions and fee collections. However, just prior to its Senate passage on April 22nd, TRPA was allowed to amend this bill, granting Tahoe Transportation District, TTD, full authority over Highway 50, 28, 431, and 206. This includes speed, signage, configuration, and law enforcement. As a Tahoe Douglas resident, I support improving parking regulation, but this shift raises serious concerns. It appears to enable TRPA's 20-year-old state line to state line bike path plan to change lanes and configuration of the lanes, despite Governor Lombardo's 2023 decision against reducing lanes on Highway 50 for bike lanes. Additionally, in December 2024, Douglas County's Parks and Recreation Board authored and passed a memorandum of understanding between Douglas County and TTD, with TTD chairing this project and furthering this agenda. Now TRPA, the mother agency for TTD, is pushing SB 246 to transfer NDOT's authority to an unelected agency with no public oversight or input. This undermines local control and public safety. The Palisade, Altadena, and Davis fires remind us that we need more evacuation routes, not fewer, as lane reductions could hinder emergency access. I urge you to halt SB 426, keeping Nevada's roads, including the Lincoln Highway, under NDOT's control to prioritize safety and public accountability. Thank you.
Ellie Waller, W-A-L-L-E-R, Douglas County resident. I attended in person recent Assembly and Senate meetings related to SB 426, an act establishing the Lake Tahoe Basin Scenic Byway Corridor Recreation Safety Zone. In 2022 and 23, many Douglas County residents came together to oppose a TRPA plan to convert much of Highway 50 to 2 lanes from 4 lanes to add a bike path on that highway. We oppose this change because it would create a nightmare for wildfire evacuation and any other emergency response. Also during the summer and winter, Highway 50 would become a parking lot. Thank you, Governor Lombardo. In November 23, you and the NDOT Board of Directors declared that we would have no lane reduction on Highway 50 for safety and evacuation reasons. We must always be reminded that Tahoe receives over 15 million visitors a year. On March 7th, the Douglas County Board of County Commissioners unanimously passed a resolution declaring Highway 50 must remain 4 lanes. Furthermore, on May 1, the commissioners stated they were neutral on SB 426, but was concerned by the many residents in Tahoe that this bill would allow non-elected organizations to reduce lanes. From my recent comments at the May 6th Growth and Infrastructure Committee, we know that this is a complex arena in Tahoe. We believe that the committee should not approve SB 426 without adding the Douglas County resolution. It has, but there's still not enough specificity. TRPA and the Tahoe Transportation District reports of thousands of pages should be reviewed and can they claim that there are no conflicts in certainty? Also, SB 426 added State Route 207 Kingsbury to their amendment. A dedicated traffic analysis and corridor management plan is necessary for this area, which should be conditioned as part of an upcoming environmental impact statement for a recently proposed Barton Hospital in the Douglas County region. This needs to be coordinated with NDOT. Furthermore, no TRPA required cumulative impacts traffic analysis has been conditioned for any project recently and has been touted as the invisible state line for many years, which further supports a CMP. SB 426 should not be approved until issues are resolved and brought back in the future. And lastly, more information on the current highway restriping project on Highway 50 is necessary for transportation. Thank you for the opportunity today.
My name is Doug Flaherty, Incline Village resident and I have 53 years of emergency fire response, emergency planning, training, and regulatory consulting experience, including that of a Southern California Fire Combat Battalion Chief, living and working in the Santa Ana Canyon. Honorable Governor Lombardo and members of the NDOT Board, the purpose of my comment today is to encourage NDOT to oppose SB 426 as written. While the Assembly Growth and Infrastructure Committee Chair recently offered to exempt the critical Highway 50 wildfire evacuation corridor from SB 426, this exemption should additionally apply to the critical wildfire evacuation corridors of State Routes 207, 28, and 431. Any traffic calming measures or lane reductions of not only Highway 50, but also SR 207, 28, and 431 will most assuredly make it harder for Tahoe Basin Nevadans and visitors to safely escape during a fast-moving, no-notice red flag wind and slope-driven wildfire. This by creating dangerous wildfire choke points along the already heavily public peril evacuation capacity constrained corridors of SR 207, 28, and 431. In order to support my comments, I offer the following hard copy substantial evidence to the NDOT board. First, my letter sent yesterday to the NDOT staff encouraging the opposition of SB 426 as written. Secondly, the October 23, 2024 independent Lake Tahoe Basin wildfire evacuation analysis. Third, the official Washoe County evacuation spreadsheet showing Incline Village evacuation time of 6 hours. Fourth, the East Shore resident Robert Byron's technical letter to NDOT concerning the SR 28 and Highway 50 roundabout configuration. Mr. Byron is a retired chief technologist for Rayathon Space and Airborne Systems Business Unit. Fifth, a comprehensive data-driven South Lake wildfire evacuation analysis impacting East Shore evacuation by Robert Byron as a member of the Tahoe East Shore Alliance technical team titled The Wildfire Evacuation Dilemma. And lastly, a recent letter to the NDOT staff objecting to the environmental review process in connection with numerous agency North and East Shore plans and projects since 2011. Citing new substantial environmental impacts as well as public safety wildfire frequency and evacuation information since 2011. Thank you for the opportunity to comment. And Mr. Lepori, I'm not sure I pronounced your name. Thank you for reaching for some sort of accountability on that last issue. As a taxpayer, I appreciate it. Is there somewhere I can put the hard copy on record?
Hi, thank you. I'm Mike Smart, SMART. I appreciate your time and effort. I'm a resident of Nevada and really appreciate living here. I'm one of the 4 that signed up to speak about not reducing the lanes on Highway 50 or the capacity in any way of evacuation routes for Nevada. I haven't heard anything in this meeting that contradicts that, so it might just be paranoia, but I was told to speak out against reducing capacity for our evacuation routes. I yield the rest of my time. Thank you.
Governor, that's all of the in-person comments we have. We do have someone on the line though.
Caller 3650, please unmute your phone, state your name for the record. Your comment will be limited to 3 minutes.
Good morning, Brett Tibbetts, Tahoe East Shore Alliance. We are forever thankful for Governor Lombardo's and the board's November 2023 decision to stop TRPA's efforts to turn much of Highway 50 into 2 lanes to add a bike trail. Highway 50 is the only true 4-lane evacuation route at Tahoe. All other roads are 2 lanes. We must always keep in mind the massive amount of tourism that Tahoe receives and the need to evacuate Tahoe in the case of a wildfire. Tahoe receives at least 15 million visitors a year, more than Yosemite, Yellowstone, and the Grand Canyon combined. That is hard to wrap your head around. The repaving and restriping of Highway 50 has finally begun and will take place over the next 2 years. The East Shore community has been quite frustrated for 2 reasons: lack of information and SB 426. NDOT management promised us they would come back to us with their plans for repaving and restriping before the project began. They did not. Many of us have written emails to NDOT management to ask for greater detail about what will take place with this project. especially with the restriping of lanes. To my knowledge, none of these emails have been answered. I personally have sent 2 that weren't answered. Thus, we have had to resort to Public Records Act requests that have not been answered as of this time, so we still don't know. Then there is SB 426. This bill is a product of the Nevada Legislature TRPA Oversight Committee in 2024, led by Senator Skip Daly. The bill started out with a laudable goal of getting parking off of Highways 50 and 28. However, Senator Daly let the TRPA completely rewrite the bill to include traffic calming measures, which sounded a whole lot like what they wanted to do in 2022 and 2023. Since there was no limitation on these measures, the East Shore community became concerned that we were right back in the same position as 2023, where TRPA would try to push through lane reductions. So as a community, we submitted again many comments asking that SB 426 be amended to state that Highway 50 must remain 4 vehicle lanes despite any traffic calming measures. As a result, Senator Daly amended SB 426 last week to include the mandate of no lane reductions for Highway 50. The amendment is currently working its way through the legislature, but the bill is still hastily constructed by TRPA. Thus, we request 2 things at this time. 1, a briefing from NDOT on the details of the Highway 50 restriping project, and 2, for the governor's office to take a deep look at SB 426. Thank you so much for this opportunity to speak.
Thank you.
Governor, that concludes our online participation.
Okay, do we have anybody here in Las Vegas wishing to speak? All right, seeing none, I will close the second opportunity for public comment and move for adjournment.
Member Valentine, I move for adjournment.
We have a second?
Andy Matthews, I'll second.
All right, we have a motion. All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Are you in favor, Stavros? I didn't hear you.
I'm ready to go to the legislative building. I'd rather stay here, but I have to go over there. So I'm in favor of adjourning.
All right, thank you, everyone.